Pick a card, what they love about you. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you at your reading. Hi friends, my name is Griselle and welcome to my channel. This is the intention and selection portion of the reading. As you can see, I've already laid out the cards. Today we're going to be using the Magician for pile number 1 or the pink heart. Notice my creepy little bunnies. I don't know why I like them, but I do. Pile number 2, you're going to have the 8 of Cups or the Star. And pile number 3, you are going to be the Queen of Wands or the Silver Heart. So with that, go ahead and feast your eyes as per usual. We're going to go ahead and get a little bit of intentionality here. And of course, a little bit of fire just because we can. So observe and see which one draws your attention the most. And we're going to get going here. So we're going to explore a little bit about what people find to be lovable or inspiring about you. Waiting for that to come down. Where are you? Here we go. There we go. These are so different than the other ones I've used in the past. So this is basically what you get back. That floats to earth after you write your intentions, which I did. And for the heck of it, let's go ahead and light a little bit of sagey sage as per usual. Get rid of any energies. And I will meet you at your pile. Hi friend, if you missed the intro, my name is Griselle with Psychic MD, and I'm here to do your reading. Pile number 1, you selected the Magician. As per usual, I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of sagey sage going on here. If you're new to my channel, welcome, welcome. And if you're a repeat offender, thank you so much for showing up again. I appreciate all of you. Now with the Magician, I am being shown that what you are led for is your ability to manifest. We all hear about that, right? How you have to align your energy according to what it is that you want in order to manifest. So unbeknownst to you, I feel like it could be a surprise to you that people view you as quite the manifester, which is a really cool thing. I feel like also people are attracted and drawn and they love you for your wisdom. I feel like also because maybe you're unusual. Pardon me while I pick up my jumper card right here. So you can be somebody who is incredibly wise, but also somebody who's very well balanced. Now, the interesting part about this Justice card right here, this Libra card, is that it is really propped. The scales are propped by a sword, and that sword will cut both ways, right? So I feel like people intuitively know that you, well, if they don't intuitively know, they know quickly that you're somebody who doesn't really care about anything but justice and straightforwardness, not only manifesting, but being super clear on your agenda, other people's agendas, and what you want. Now, the cool part about that is, well, a little bit morbid, a little bit cool, depending on your perspective, is I feel that with this sword right here, people can clearly see that you are willing to cut out even parts of yourself that don't align with this balance card. If it doesn't match up, if it doesn't stand the test, then it's going to be cut out. And I feel like you've been very balanced simply because you've faced your shadow side. And I feel like you're no longer afraid of that. Now, that is another thing that makes people really compelled to take a second and third look towards you and at you, simply because this is not like your typical energy, okay? I feel like you definitely have a lot of admirers. Currently, I would say at least 3 admirers with people looking behind. I feel also that people watch you and they want to understand like what you see and how you see it. Because you could be so connected to spirit that sometimes it could appear to be quite the mystery. It's like, how do they get that conclusion from this idea or this thing? And the thing is that you appear to be mostly right. And that is part of the draw with you. Now, this card just jumped out. And as per usual, if you have been with my channel for a little bit, then you know that jumper cards are always probably the most important cards that jump out, the most important cards that we read for your pile. Now, with the Queen of Wands, this is about having fire, that inner fire, that mojo, that oomph that gets you up in the morning, that desire, that drive. This is also my entrepreneur, my manager, my boss, right? This is incredible boss energy. And I feel like you embody that. I feel like you have fun with it. I feel like the way that you look at things is incredibly inspirational, perplexing, and creative all at once. So that is something, right? Now you might have many books, or people could just assume that you're a natural reader. Why are these cards jumping? I'm not even asking any questions and they're just popping out. Okay. So I feel like people love you also because I feel like you've been through a lot. I feel like you really have your heart chakra wide open. And that's something that you've maybe perhaps had to work on, that you don't get carried away because your heart says one thing and yet your intellect says something totally different. With the Two of Swords right here, this is a need to make a decision based on maybe two opposing things or two very important things. And typically her hands are crossed over at her heart and she's sitting on a cold, hard bench, like concrete bench. And there's a lot of water behind her. And this tells me that, you're protecting your heart. You're somebody who protects your heart. And with these crows kind of like pulling at her hair and kind of maybe yelling at her, I feel like people admire and love you because when you think about things, you really stop to think about it. You consider all sides of the situation and you really want what is right and balanced. And I feel like part of what is so admirable is that you're looking for balance, whether it costs you or it costs anybody else. The whole point is to be balanced and true and just. And that's something really admirable, especially in today's world, right? So that is something that people actually notice or get a feel for you. Now, the Five of Cups tells me that you have suffered huge losses, and even to the point that perhaps you've gotten into a depression. Right here, it seems to me like she's lost 3 cups, and those are traditionally like dumped on the floor, indicating that the good times, the jovial times, the times that we've spent with other people is something that we long for, and it is chalked up to a loss. Now, this card sometimes can be kind of spoken of as a disappointment, but I don't feel a disappointment. To me, that is a little bit trite for what the card really indicates. If you look, she actually stuck her foot in one of the cups and just spilled it herself. And that to me indicates like a really deep depression. It's almost like, if I've lost this, then what do I have to live for? What do I have to go for? What really do I have that's keeping me going? And I feel like even though people may not know you super well, I feel like they can sense something like a depth to you that is really unusual and different, and that you have a heart of compassion that really is able to embrace and encompass and understand intellectually. Your emotional intelligence, by the way, is very high, other people. And that demands a lot of respect. It commands a lot of respect. I feel also that what is loved about you from people that really know you super well and people that are just barely meeting you is that you've traveled far and wide. And yet this level of depression could have like knocked you out, taken you out. And yet I feel like you get up one more time to try one more time. Let me just do it one more time. And there could be some sadness, residual sadness with you. You could have bouts of like depression, bouts of getting tangled in your mind. And yet every time that people kind of like look towards you, here you are manifesting once again. Here you are standing up once more, not giving up. And those are really qualities that we all admire. Those are things that we look for in mentors and leaders. And that's pretty amazing. So what else do we have here? Maybe we can pick the cards instead of throwing them, eh? That's an idea. Show me what I need to see. Pile number 1. Why is pile number 1 loved? Why is pile number 1 loved and sought after? Okay. You have a lot of fire, a lot of drive. I feel like you have a lot of vision, like you help people see a bigger picture, something that maybe perhaps they weren't aware of, but you also have an ability to bring people together. You find the common thread in everyone so that everyone feels complete, everyone feels included, encompass, and everyone has like an equal dream. Now, if you are the head of like some kind of marketing firm or some kind of a team or a boss, a leader, manager, whatever you want to call it, then I'm going to say that you have the ability to bring your vision back into a world where other people can see a similar vision that inspires them, that includes them personally. As in, hey, you know, Bob, I know that this is like my vision, but look at how well you fit in. Look at how this really kind of fulfills this purpose in your life that I kind of see that you have a knack for, that you have a desire for, that you have a will to really participate in. And hey, Jane, look at how you fit in perfectly with this. It's all like a Rubik's Cube. And so I feel like you could really inspire that vision and that teamwork and that sense of, hey, let's kind of celebrate what we have and this like good juju feeling all around. So that's really neat to see. And a large part of it is because you have that fierceness, that desire. With the yellow, that talks to me a lot about the oh my gosh, I always say solar plexus chakra right here with the yellow. And that talks to me about like your little drive, the reason for you waking up and for you having that vision and for you going at it one more day. So you could be, I think, a little bit like showy sometimes, a little spontaneous sometimes. And I think sometimes you could even pull yourself out of the depths of simply so that you can surface and really help other people have their dream. And perhaps that's part of your dream, is to really help other people maintain a dream as well. And that's what keeps you going. Now, you know, as somebody who has suffered myself with debilitating depression at different times of my life, and I've had that same sentiment. It's like, what is it all for? What is the point of any of it? And just an overall feeling of hopelessness. I will say that when you have that vision, when you are able to really kind of get up and inspire other people, it really helps my self-esteem as well. And so obviously I'm not saying that any of this is going to take place of therapy. I'm a big fan of therapy for sure. But I think that, you know, you've been proven to be able to get yourself out of the mud some way, somehow, to renew into that fire, to capture that flame that really inspires people around you. And that really is admirable. And this is why people seek you out. Now, with the World card coming out here, I'm going to say also that people have seen you have many endings. Like if you have lifelong friends, certainly family and things like that, they've seen you go through many phases, as they want to call it, or many chapters in your life. And I feel like maybe you're somebody who is on a trajectory of fast learning. Like maybe you go through many phases quickly in order to learn, you know, the things that you need to learn in order to advance and elevate. And the cool part about that is I feel like it's like an ascension, yes, but it's not just an ascension to just better yourself only. I feel like there's something very humanitarian about this with this circle. Once again, this is like almost a circle here of completeness that's repeating. So I feel like you look and you bring people together and you make people feel complete. You could have an interest in sacred geometry, geology. You could be somebody who studies energy. Look, yeah, the electromagnetic field. You could be somebody who's interested in like auras and things like that. And that is fascinating for people. Look, something about you that's a little bit wild and carefree and free-spirited. Something that is quite mystifying to other people. That when perhaps things seem really, really bleak, that you just kind of jump up and you're like, the heck with this, and you embrace life once again. It could be almost a little bit like from one moment to the next. Sometimes you're like really dark, and then other times you're like, okay, we're going to do this. Let's go. I mean, what choice do we have? But I feel like you get fueled simply by being you and with nature and with grounding your feet on the ground as well. But with the sun, this is like you illuminate a lot of things. You illuminate what needs to end. Is part of like your gift to mankind, to humanity. And that's why you're really well revered and well loved. It's not fun for us to face things that have to end. But I feel like because you've done it with such grace and then you've come back full force, and maybe perhaps your quote failures have been visible to the public or to those that you're really close to. And the reason why that's important is because they can see that we're not infallible, that we actually can take our licks, and then, you know, we have the same feelings and emotions and trials and tribulations as other people. But the difference is that we want to keep going, and we want to also serve mankind and inspire humanity. And I feel like you do it, once again, gracefully. There's something about it that can seem otherworldly, or that you're in your own world, and people want that. I feel like you light a fire under people and you awaken people's hearts. People that have been feeling numb in their hearts for a long time, that have been feeling stuck, that don't know how to put an end to things when it's far beyond the expiration date in their lifetime as well. I feel like you inspire studying. You inspire people to learn about new things, learn about themselves, learn about maybe even what it is to like talk to spirit, maybe flame gazing, getting into line with like the cycles of the moon and getting in touch with their feelings and emotions. I feel like you bring kind of a groundedness, a studiousness, and a lot of respect. I feel like people respect you quite a bit. And if I dare say, I feel like people pedestal you. What they love about you is that you're always studying. You might have your nose always buried in a book, or you might be like making charts and grids and graphs and things like that in order to analyze or keep track of things, or like you're always up to something. And people love that about you because it's a curiosity. And the interesting part about that is it brings so much energy and focus to you. And I think that you're a little bit oblivious about that. I think that when you're involved in your magic, whatever brand of magic that is, whether you're creating a schedule, orchestrating a schedule for a job, like part of your magic could be, you sit at home and you think, well, so-and-so needs this day off for that reason, and somebody else requested this day off. How can I fulfill both those needs without penalizing anyone else? And when I used to manage, I would create a rotation so that not one person always has 2 days off together, or Saturdays off, whatever the quote treat or sweet spot was. And so for me, that meant a lot to me, that I was able to take things into account, and I would never promise, okay, these days off, you definitely aren't promised it, but 99% of the time they would get it, and they knew that with me. So if I was able to make it happen, then I would make it happen. I feel like your brand of specialness and your brand of study and your brand of Rubik's cubing the world together in a way that is a little bit softer, a little bit brighter for other people, is what really lets people fall in love with you quickly and swiftly. And that's pretty cool. Then we have the Two of Wands. People feel like there is a little bit of aloofness with you, almost like you are waiting. This is my quintessential, I'm waiting for the tide to come in, my world traveler. This is, what am I going to pick? Am I going to pick the old, something I've done before? Am I going to pick the new? And you're off to a new adventure. So I feel like people feel that people feel that you're not going to be around quite that long. I feel like you have a definite special aura, a magnetic aura, right? Because everything revolves around the sun. At least that's what we've been told. And honestly, I've been skeptical about so much trash that we've been taught that, even if it's obviously white or yellow, I'm going to look at it twice and question it and see if that's real. But that's just me. But I'm going to say that, you're so magnetic, and I feel like you have this presence that you're like, all right, well, on to the next adventure. And because of that, I feel like people can cling to your energy a little bit. So that's something that you want to watch for. It seems like at times when you get caught off guard, like when you think that nobody's watching, I think that people notice that you tend to be a little bit like with a faraway look, faraway gaze, wondering and thinking, okay, what is she or he thinking about? Are they on to the next adventure? Are they going to really jump ship and do something totally different? Are they going to manifest something completely different? And while it's exciting and riveting and inspiring, and sometimes I feel like people could feel genuine terror because you challenge your status quo and things, it's also a little bit uncomfortable to think that they will be having to do without your energy, or without your presence, without your leadership, because I'm getting mega leadership vibes off of this. And I feel also that you might be a fire sign, whether it's sun, moon, rising. It doesn't make a difference. I feel like you have fire somewhere in your chart, and you could do a lot of your studying like by yourself, like in the dark, not telling anybody what you're doing, but just studying, not because you are trying to be secretive, but simply because, that's what one does in their own free time, right? You kind of do. Some people watch a game, some people, I don't know, play tennis, some people do whatever it is that they do, and other people study, and other people like manifest. And Other people really hone their interpersonal skills through going within and doing shadow work and learning more about themselves so that they can actually change and really face certain things. And that makes us more relatable to the public, to our friends, our family, and other people as well. So what else do we have? Why do people love? Pile number 1, please. I meant to make this short in it. Oh, meow. Okay, well, here we are. It's not a short read, obviously. Here we go again, but flames of passion ignite. So burning desire. I feel like people can really confuse their connection with you is like, okay, this is the one, this is what I want. When you're really meant to kind of inspire and instill other people to really follow their own passions, their own drives, and their own desires, and to bring that zest and that zeal and that optimism and that ability to create, to really hone in and bring all of their skills together to manifest something that they want, to be able to show people that they too can achieve their own dreams, and have a very different life than one being stuck, than one that they currently have if they are unhappy. And I feel like people can really just, again, mistaken this feeling of excitement of like, wow, I'm learning from you some way, somehow, to like with a burning desire, it might really entice people to think that they're feeling lustful towards you. And I have a hard time with this. I'm like, well, do they really think they want you, or do they really want you? And I feel like people just confuse emotions with, yeah, I feel like they confuse lust and a desire for you in a physical way with, I don't know, they confuse your ability to excite them in the game of life with lust, with the tangibles, with the 3D, with wanting to get close to your skin, with wanting to smell your hair. I don't know, with wanting to grab your booty. What do I know? But I'm saying that some people might genuinely feel like that lust for you, but if they look on beyond the surface, what really inspires that is all of the other characteristics that you have that are blatantly just there for anyone to see if they care to observe. So that is pretty darn amazing. Pile number 1, if you're liking this kind of reading, please do give me a like, share, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you thought about this kind of reading. Much love to you. Until next time, namaste. Hi friends, my name is Griselle, and if you chose pile number 2, then this is your reading. So you chose the 8 of Cups, the quest, with the sad girl here and all of the butterflies. Pile number 2, if you're new to my channel, welcome, welcome. If you're a repeat offender, thank you so much for stopping back. Really appreciate everybody that has stopped by. Hopefully this will be of some help, some amusement, or some comfort to all of you. So what do we love about pile number 2? I'm going to tell you right now that with the 8 of Cups, people understand and love about you that you are willing to make the ultimate sacrifice, that you try your hardest, that you really put forward your best foot in all situations. I feel like you're my all-in girl, my all-in guy. You don't take half measures, half steps, shortcuts for sure. That is not your MO. But I feel like once you realize that you're like giving over giving, and maybe perhaps not allowing other people to give as well, or to carry their own kind of weight in the situation, whether it's a work team or a marriage or a relationship, whatever the case may be, I feel like then that's when you kind of think, well, you know, that's not really what I was looking for. That's not really what I want. And therefore I'm going to have to kind of move on. Now, why not? Let's just burn this too, because we can. So I feel like with that said, you are somebody that is very observant. I feel like you could have had a lot of different transformations in your life. And this reminds me of a dream. You could be somebody that has dreams and you recollect them quite well. And maybe perhaps you're somebody who keeps a dream journal, or when you get prompted, you're like, wow, I did have a dream about this. And that is really intense. Now, I am somebody who has incredibly like just play by play realistic dreams. And sometimes they freak me out. I'm not going to lie. So I will spare you my dream for today, but we're talking about you here. So basically what is loved about you is that once you give your all and you see that, you know, it's not going anywhere or it's not yielding the fruits of what it is that you wanted, whether relationship or job, things like that, that you willingly move away. You are in search of happiness, emotional gratification, and you are not willing to accept like the status quo of, well, this is how it's done and this person is emotionally unavailable. You're not willing to also accept that, wow, you put in all this energy, effort, this blood, sweat, and tears, and I'm going to stick it through for longer than necessary. I feel like you're going to go, you know, the extra mile. I mean, Eight of Cups is a huge deal. This is like time that you poured into each and every cup, time, energy, emotion, love, blood, sweat, tears, all of it. And yet it didn't glean you the respect, the love that you really wanted. And so the Eight of Cups tells me that you are on a quest, the Nine of Cups, and people admire that. So this could look like many different ways. You could have had a hard time with love, like in your love life, and you could have just said next. It sounds really bad, but you could be like, next, okay, next, that's not going to work for me. You could have had a marriage or two and decided, you know, this isn't working, so I'm going to have to put an end to it. It could look like many different ways. You could have had a job that you spilled out literally blood, sweat, and tears. You would come home and maybe do projects off the clock and things like that. I mean, you would like eat, breathe, that kind of a job. And when you realize that you weren't getting the emotional fulfillment out of it, maybe perhaps because you were prompting or supporting someone else's dream and not your own, I feel like then you just kind of decided, well, this isn't giving me the joy and the happiness any longer that I wanted, because you went through all the phases of the cups and you didn't get what you wanted. So you decided to move on. And these are really difficult decisions. This is not like, oh, you know, I had, you know, a week here, a year there. This is, I put in a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of my own devotion, a lot of money, my spirit went into it. And it's hard to walk away from things like that, whether it's a job or a relationship or friendship, family, any of that. But it didn't bring you that emotional gratification. People really admire that you're not staying stuck in a rut, that you're not saying, well, you know what, I'm waiting for a retirement, and I have, you know, 10 years invested and I'm miserable, but I'm going to stick it out for another 10 because then I can retire, something like that. So let's see what else. What do we love about pile number 2, please? Okay, we got a jumper, time apart, a time of separate. Yeah, see, you walking away. And I feel like also people really appreciate you a lot more when you leave. And this is a horrible thing to say. It's a horrible thing to experience, because let me not lie. I've had, you know, I've not expressed my gratitude towards people too. And then when they're no longer in my life, I look back and I'm like, I am a total idiot. So I feel like we've all kind of been there in one way or another, whether it was younger or older. And some of us have a habit of kind of repeating things, but keep in mind that that's part of a learning process. We repeat until we learn. So right here, this is just stating time apart. This separation is part of the reason why people love you, is that they realize that you really did pour in so much, and all of a sudden they look back and you're not there anymore. And now you're a memory. And it's like, wait, I can't believe that I was that dumb and I let that person go. Or I just didn't participate. I didn't articulate myself. I didn't throw in my own elbow grease and things. So responsibilities, romance interrupted, duties come first. So that's interesting. We're going to get some clarification right here. But I feel like another reason why we love you is that you're very responsible. I feel like you're of high moral fiber, high character. I feel like you have a lot of loyalty, and yet you also have boundaries. So when that loyalty crosses that boundary, I feel like that makes you completely out, and nobody blames you for it, by the way. So why is responsibilities here for pile number 2, please? The 3 of Pentacles. Maybe because you share in responsibilities, and people love that about you, that you're not willing to allow other people to carry all the burdens, that you're willing to, you know, roll up your sleeve. Like the 8 of Cups is a hard worker. I feel like a lot of like Capricorn vibes with that. Somebody who's strong, who's willing to get their hands dirty and get in there and do the thing. And people see that. People see that you are a team player. And, but you know, once again, key emphasis word is team player. You're about your responsibilities, you are about your duties, but if it feels like It's unstable and one-sided. Once again, I think that you're out. So where are these cards here? What do we love? Pile number 2, please. Because we're kind of chatting and talking about the month of love. At least that's what's supposed to be, right? In honor of Valentine's Day, let's see. What do we love? Pile number 2, please. 2 cards. We'll take this and we'll take this. Okay. We love the way you love. And look right here. So 8 of Cups, and right here, you add the 1, you got 9 of Cups total. And 9 of Cups is a dream, is a wish fulfillment. So I feel like people understand that you have a wish. And if they don't initially, they will soon. Because you're always working with a motive, with a purpose. You move with a purpose. You don't move willy-nilly. And once again, you go all in. But people see that you have a huge heart. That when you give not expecting anything back. But you're also no fool. And I think that that's really evident, and people have mistaken that in you before. They're like, oh, well, you know, this person, they're always there and they're always going to do the right thing, or they always do what I expect, or they always, well, you know, then they quickly learn. Well, they learn sooner or later that you are in search of your happiness, and it's taken you a long time, perhaps, to be able to get that. I heard gumption, okay? But right here, I see, if we can zoom in, there is like a jailed heart right here. And I feel like you have become, through necessity, through the need to move forward in life and seek your ultimate fulfillment, that wish, that 9 of Cups, if you will, that you have embodied the Queen of Swords. Whether male or female, I don't read sex, I read strictly energy. And I think that this goes to show that you've been through a lot of heartache, heartbreak, and yet you've used your intellectualism, your ability to reason, your foresight, your ability to do the math, look at the stats, and really cut out everything that hinders. Similar, I guess, to pile number 1 as well, with the Justice card being present there. Now, with the Queen of Swords, I feel like you're also very well regarded. But I feel like people could fear you a little bit, simply because I think that once people start seeing that you're able to cut people cold, then they're a little bit shocked. And that makes them kind of fearful. And it's like, well, if you can cut out that, then what else can you cut out? But I think that you have really logical reasons. And I think that you've spoken about this. And people see you in a constant flux of change. You could be somebody who changes the way you dress, your attire, your mannerism, your speech, the way you think, maybe even different goals, ideas, and dreams. But is not life all about learning and trying different things out? So I don't think it's that important to be like stuck necessarily in a role that people expect of you. One moment, please. So these 2 cards happen to jump out, and they jumped out reverse. So I'm going to say that your critics will say that you can't make a choice and you cannot commit to something, but that is actually untrue. What it is that is you're picking you, and people are pissed because you're not picking them. You're not falling for the okie dokie. You're not falling for the, okay, let's do this one more time. Well, you are the child. This is how you act. And, well, I'm elderly and you need to, you know, continue acting this way. No, I feel like you're seeking your happiness and a balance in things. And you're no longer really signing contracts or adhering to contracts that are outmoded and holding you to something that other people are not willing to stand for as well. Okay. So, and people admire that because that takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of gumption. It takes a lot of analyzing and thinking about things. But most of all, it takes a lot of heart to be able to follow through with things like that. Are we not just having jumpers left and right? Okay. So we had the High Priestess jump out. So another reason why we love you. People love you because I feel like you're very close to spirit. I feel like even if you look at her, her eyes are closed, and yet her makeup appears that her eyes are open as well. She's got pupils that are a little bit drawn on there. You could see her third eye right here is actually popping. She's very connected to the cosmos. And also this appears to be I know this is kind of weird, but this appears to be like she's being born, okay? And it's almost like going through a birth canal. I don't know why I get that with this card right here. But I feel also that you speak your truth and you're very well loved because you speak your truth. You're connected to spirit. And I feel like you really try to judge impartially. Now, the fact that she has all that blue on her throat chakra and all the white coming through, I feel like you could even speak the words that are directed from spirit itself, okay? Now, this also, when it fell, it kind of did a loop and it landed upside down ultimately. So I'm going to say that what people love about you is that they're a little bit terrified of you. That's like counterintuitive. But I think that this, with the Queen of Swords here, it's kind of sexy. It's edgy. You could be somebody who is considered sexy and edgy, like they don't know what to expect of you. And what they love about you is that you're unpredictable in their eyes because they can't really see how you're analyzing and what you're stacking up against what in order to really base your decisions on. And also because you're so intuitive that people are a little bit taken aback and they want that like 5th degree of separation. They don't want to be super close because they're afraid that you might be somebody who can read their mind, who can read their emotions, who can really kind of uncover things about them that they want to keep secret. So I'm getting that feeling because I feel like around your circle, sooner or later, people know that you're incredibly intuitive and that you're able to be quite on the money without much effort. What do we love? Pile number 2. Do not fall. King of Pentacles, reverse. So I feel like you're not motivated necessarily by money or by like the old school, the patriarchal, idea of stability with all the books right here and all the red denoting the root chakra and things like that. And you're not like enamored by the symbol of money and what money can do. I think that you dance to the beat of your own drum in a lot of ways. And you realize that, in order to find your emotional happiness, sometimes you're going to have to rock the boat and it won't be stable. But I feel like you have an incredible trust in spirit, which carries you very far. 3 of Cups. I feel like you have the ability to enjoy the small things. To enjoy the small things, you might like the nighttime, you might like looking at the sky, you might like looking at the clouds as well. You might feel the most comfortable with like the same sex if you're interested in the opposite sex. Or you might be more comfortable in the opposite sex if you're interested romantically with the same sex. And let me clarify. So I feel like when you take like attraction out of things, you feel more at ease and you don't have to think about things. You could be your most authentic self is basically what I mean. So yeah, you could have that ability of bringing people together to celebrate. You definitely look at things radically different than other people around you, and they've not encountered this before. But the interesting part about that is that while you're radically different, in a lot of ways, you seek the same thing. So with the 4 of Wands, this is about starting anew. This is about building a home. It could be a physical home. It could be a metaphorical home. It could be your job as well. But I'm going to say that you rejoice in having things that are stable, okay? But you look at things differently. So what you look at stability is radically different from other people. Perhaps what you look at stability is just people that accept you, a place that you're not going to be nagged on or preyed upon or hammered into a role that you just simply don't agree with or you don't fit into. So what you view as stability and what you view as love and peace is really different from other people. Whereas some other people are feeling like, okay, well, my wealth makes me stable in my home and my vehicle and my properties and things like that. But what they don't see that you're seeing perhaps and maybe even vocalizing is that when I see these things and I think of the car and the home and things like that, that belong to quote you, that you look at that and say, okay, well, is that really your coin? They say give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. And in the end, it's like, well, if those houses are paid for and that property is paid for, then yeah, it is your property. And same thing with the car. And so I think that you view things differently. It's like I personally own, I don't own my car because the bank owns it, right? Because I'm driving it until I pay for it. But this is a mindset. Everybody else looks at it like I own that car. And you look at it as like, well, I don't really own it. I do have it, and as long as I make payments, it's still mine, but I own it outright until it's mine, until I finish paying for it. And that's a big difference between you and other people. And that could be really kind of a shock to people. It is unusual. It feels like it makes you, even if you're living in the same country and from the same country as these people, I feel like it makes you a little bit of a foreigner in your own land, okay? I feel like you could have adopted like Middle Eastern traditions or mindsets or ways to go about things. Just something very different about you. And we love that. It is riveting. It is all at once riveting, a little bit scary, a little bit exciting, and a little bit perplexing all at once. So pile number 2, if you're liking this kind of reading, please do give me a like, share, comment, subscribe. Until next time, namaste. Hi friends, my name is Griselle, Psychic MD, and I'm here to do pile number 3, your reading. If you missed the intro, wanted to welcome you. Thank you so much for stopping in. I hope that everyone receives exactly what it is that you came here for. And if not, then I hope at least you were amused. Pile number 3, you chose the Queen of Wands. Now, she is my favorite queen out of the whole entire deck. So it says determination. And I would add to that determination, sheer determination. I'm hearing somebody say bloody determination, but okay, if that's your thing, that's your thing. I feel like you roll up your sleeve. You have a lot of determination. You have a lot of maybe even perhaps like Aries, Leo, Sag energy. A lot of go, go, go. And yet, I feel like whatever you touch really does bloom. And I feel like you could be very grounded in ways that are a little bit perplexing to other people. So what we love about you, first of all, I feel like you look really good in black. You could look really good in red. You could wear both colors. You could have a little bit of a Scorpio vibe to you. So maybe you have like a Scorpio moon rising to you. People could wonder. You could have dark aesthetics, kind of Lilith energy. So we are going to go ahead and pull some more cards and see what we love about you. What do people love about pile 3? What do we love about pile number 3, please? 2 cards. King of Swords and the Page of Swords. Well, are you the intellectual? Are you quite the intellectual? You're super smart. Nobody is going to tangle with you. They will not mess with you. They know that you don't mince with words. They know that you are super brainy, that you're not one to be played with. I think with this king, he's gone through the whole suit of swords, including the Page of Swords, and he knows like what to wield at any point in time. He could be a Page of Swords. He could be a Knight of Swords, which is like rushing in with, you know, maybe not the best of information, but rushing in just in order to conquer, get something done. But I feel like you're very connected also to animals. You do things differently. You might dress differently. You might do your hair quite differently than people around you. But I really don't think that you care about things like that. You could love to wear boots. You could have a connection to birds, to bats, owls, and things like that. Very high-minded, and I feel like you could look at things and be like calm as a cucumber and not let on to what you're really feeling, because sometimes you guys get denoted as being somebody who is unfeeling, and that can be further from the truth, honestly. So I feel like what we love about you is that a lot of times you're really difficult to read. You could be analytical, you could be in the field of like tech, engineering, you could be like a surgeon, scientist, anybody who has great analytical abilities, okay? And I think that sometimes people look at you and they feel like you're a little bit inhuman even. So let's see where this goes. With the Page of Swords right here, you have an incredible ability to do homework. So homework on people, homework on businesses. I call it homework. Anything that you're going to research, anyone that you're researching, I'm going to say, if you set your sights, you're going to find out. You have your ways through investigating like social media or looking at like I don't know, sealed documents some way, somehow. That might not be legal. I don't know, but you get the point. You have the ability to kind of figure out answers that you need in order to make great decisions. And I feel like that could be decisions when it comes to love. That could be decisions when it comes to people in your personal space. But also, I feel like any of your ideas that you want to bring about and manifest, you have that ability to kind of go through them and go, okay, well, let me check this out. Yeah, this isn't the right demographic for that, so I'll have to tweak it, I'll have to change it, or I'll have to make this happen somewhere else. Like, this isn't the right state or the right country for that. And that's the line of thinking that you have, okay? So what do we love about pile number 3? What do we have for thee, please? Reaching out. Well, we love when you reach out. What's up? So people I haven't heard from you in a long time, they definitely love it when you reach out. Expect a call or text from your person of interest. Okay, well, people could definitely be interested. And I love how he is just looking at her and he has her hand and he's just like riveted. His focus is unmistakable on her, unmistakably riveted on her. Now, some people can think that you are really attached or overly attached to materialism, too much focus on visible trappings. And so perhaps the people that you date or you think about dating or vice versa, or who are interested in your romantic life, even if you're like you're married or in a relationship, it doesn't make a difference. People think that maybe you are analytical and you work and you hustle and you do these businesses simply because you want the material outcomes. But I feel like a lot of it has to do with your creativity and your intellect, your love for knowledge, your love of being able to create something with your own hands. You could even work a lot with your own hands, and that could surprise other people. Like, for example, you could have the money to do whatever it is that you want and hire people, but you prefer to do it yourself because there's a certain level of like satisfaction. Example, like changing your own tire or putting in, I don't know, like a furnace or changing out like a fireplace and making it, you know, all clean and brand spanking new, putting in a new one, things like that. So I feel like very earthy in a lot of ways from you. But when you're romantic, when you latch on to someone focused, I feel like you don't make any bones about it. You were like, yep, I want you, or I'm interested in you. And I feel like people around you, I feel like that would kind of make other people squirm sometimes. By the same token, I feel like also people are riveted on you romantically, which is kind of interesting, simply because you are so smart, and that's a turn on for a lot of people. Let's see if we can kind of get this moved over here. Yeah, good enough. Good enough. Uh-oh, low battery. Okay, I might have to pause this, charge my phone, and come back. See you in a bit. All right, and what do we love? Pile number 3. What do we love about thee? What about you is inspiring? What do we get riveted on? I feel like pile number 3, we also want your whole attention. Now, you could be somebody who seems a bit aloof, and people actually want this from you. And believe it or not, I feel like even same-sex people can want your full attention. But what else do we love about the pile number 3? So you have really good boundaries. You have really good boundaries and your ability to juggle things. I feel like you're at once very grounded and very kind of in your head a little bit. And this right here, this orb looks a little bit like Daddy Saturn. So you could have a lot of discipline in you. And the way that you hold yourself towards people, I feel like you'd be a little bit defiant, and people like that. You have some spit and fire in you, I'll say that. So, well, the Nine of Wands is somebody who's been, typically the image is beat up from the street up. That's what I get from this image. But I feel like you've lowered your fences enough to where you're like, all right, well, you can come this close, but you still got to prove in order to get to the other side, the side that you're standing in, you got to prove that you are well worth stepping over that gate or that barrier, right? So I don't think that you allow people close to you very easily. You're very selective. Selective is a word that I keep getting for you. And people want to be in your inner circle. I'm hearing inner sanctum. I feel like people really want to know also what is going on in your head. What are you thinking? That's what people love about you, is the mystery, the elusiveness. The ability to get up and do things by yourself, the lone wolf energy, even when it seems like you're walking on cold, cold ice. It doesn't make a difference, that you are ready and willing to do whatever it takes by any means to be able to get your job, whatever that is, done, your goal achieved. And again, you have that connection with birds. I feel like you could also have like an inner warning system, like a sixth sense, if you will, about people that kind of gives you a heads up. So you could be also in like security. So perhaps you are somebody who is like on the security detail, or you install security, or you think about security and you take it seriously. You don't take anything like that lightly. You could be somebody who is packing. You could also have, you know, many different things on you to protect yourself, protect other people that you care about. Very MacGyver-ish a little bit, okay? An ability to take care of business is what I get from this image as well. So what do we love about you? Let's see. I want to use my other cards here because, you know, they're super cool. So what do we love about pile number 3? Where are we riveted on the, what do we love about pile number 3, please? If you're liking this kind of reading, please do give me a like, share, comment, subscribe. Okay. Well. We have the Ace of Hazards. This is the Ace of Pentacles. The way that you invest in things, the way that you really look at things. I heard the word micromanage, and I feel like people can possibly feel that way. But also, I think they get a little bit excited about that. So you could be like a little bit of that edgy, kind of scary boss who's also hot. Or that team member who really excites other people because they don't get really close to other people. And I feel like you exude sex. I mean, sex appeal. That's what it is. The Queen of Wands is very much sexually appealing, very arousing, if you will. Okay. And I feel like whatever it is that you put your hand to, you really think about things. You think it through. You don't like commit lightly. You don't do things lightly. And with the 3 of Cups, this is about like having like happy hour, letting your hair down, relaxing. So maybe people have seen you at like company parties or at social events and mixers, and they're like, wow, that's quite the change from this person, right? Who we can't touch. We like you when you're like engaged, when you're giving eye contact, when you're fixated on us. And we like that quite a bit, but we don't get that often enough. So I feel like you could have a little bit of harem. And in fact, even as I'm speaking, I'm kind of thinking of a friend of mine who has kind of this little demeanor about him as well. And I know that he's got people who are looking towards him constantly, like in a romantic way, but he's very aloof. And I feel like, yeah, people are trying to like engage his attention all the time. And I can clearly see that, which is a little bit funny right here that he should pop up. So what else do we have? What else do we love about pile number 3? What do we love about the, good grief. Okay, look. If I didn't say already that you're a sexy MFer, look. We have the Strength card. This is my quintessential sexy card. This is like Leo vibes. You are large and in charge. You are in control. You don't mess around. You know exactly how to conduct yourself, what to do. I feel like you have the resources, the manpower, the elbow grease, the wherewithal, the know-how to be able to protect your own, protect your family, protect with yours. You could be skilled with arms, with a rifle, with shotgun. I don't know if that's like a real, that's not a machete, not an axe. 'Cause double-headed axe, is that like a thing? I'm making up stuff right now, but you're skilled at whatever it is that you do, and you have like, no, you make no bones about it. You're going to protect what's yours, and you're going to do what needs to be done. Very like manly. Very manly, even if you're female, like very take charge. Okay. What we love about you is sometimes you can dig in your heels and need to make a decision. You're like, okay, which one do I cut off? Do I use a rifle or do I use an electrical saw or whatever you call this right here? But your cutoff game is on point. We know that because you are essentially the King of Swords, as well as very sexy with the Queen of Wands right here and the Four of Cups. So you could get bored a little bit easily, or that could be presumed by people around you that, you know, if you don't engage if they don't engage your attention properly, that you are going to just up and leave. You got better things to do, more things to preoccupy your mind. People wonder about your romantic life quite a bit. And what else do we have here? Last one. Why do we love the pile number 3? See? It's just physical. Okay. Physical connection, the sacred union of bodies two becoming one. I feel like people could really like fantasize about you or have this idea, this notion about what you would be like to connect in a physical manner like that. People could really wonder if you would be able to kind of like, I don't know, lend a little bit of force, a little bit of oomph in the bedroom, that kind of a thing. So there's a lot of like speculation about you. Speculation. Divine timing or serendipitous event. So once again, I feel like people can't wait to like get around you and have that one-on-one time. Get out of here. Look. Workplace romance. So even wherever it is that you're working, I feel like you could have a really beautiful chin. That sounds funny. You could have nice arms. You could have really great lips, but people want to see you riveted on them. And the workplace romance, well, it's self-explanatory. I feel like people that you come into contact with get so impressed by your intellectual abilities and look, all these things that we cannot talk about because that's like 500 cards right now. And you don't have time for that either. But I'm just going to say they would love to settle down with you. They would love to be very grounded with you. They see that when you pick something, you are like in it to win it, in it for the long haul. You are not fickle. Why? Because you do your homework. Why? Because your cutoff game is strong. Why? Because you follow your desires. You are a natural, like, Midas touch person, okay? You don't mess around. You don't waste your time. You don't waste your resources. And most of all, you don't waste your own energy. And I feel like people want that from you. So you gotta watch that. You gotta watch that. But that's what I have for you. That's why we love you. If you're liking this kind of reading, please do give me a like, share, comment, subscribe. Until next time, much love. Namaste.